TRUKKER was founded in 2016 in the UAE as the idea of creating an Uber of trucks. So I accidentally, happened to encounter this idea and I worked on it. And since then, co-founder Pradeep and I, we built the largest digital freight network that is now across 9 countries, connecting more than 1,200 enterprise clients, primarily big companies to small enterprises, to 70,000 plus trucks, which belong to individuals or fleet owners, with a complete digital platform. So in the last, since 2016 to now, we've been able to constantly expand into additional products. We now, have a full solution of door-to-door for most enterprises in the general cargo segment. And on top of that, we've added fintech, which is making one of the key value propositions of such a network, that transporters and drivers can get paid instantly as soon as they finish the job. Large companies, they have their own processes on payment terms. So they would pay you in 30 days, 45 days. And a lot of these companies in the transportation sector, they cannot scale because they can't invest that kind of capital.
How do you make money? Is it a subscription base? Is it a percentage out of the transactions?
Great question. So because of the enterprise nature of the business, we have contractual relationships with large and small enterprise. So companies who are manufacturers, traders, importers and exporters of cargo. And then we have a very strong, vetted member suppliers who are these, transportation companies who are servicing those volumes. So if we are selling at $100 and we are paying the, transport at $90, that's the $10 of margin that we make. And we are able to meet the standards of the companies and are able to provide consistent business with no payment risk on the suppliers.
What is the value of transaction on TRUKKER, and what is the growth in this value?
Overall, the platform in 2024 completed close to 250,000 transactions, which is 250,000 full truckloads, the big trucks that you see on the highways. And we finished about $250 million of top line.
$250 million?
Yes.
And are you profitable?
So we are operationally profitable across the business. So right now the company continues to invest in new products and development as in the corporate, but operationally out of all the 9 countries, 3 of our major markets, and also the surrounding economies, they're all operationally EBITDA breakeven.
How much money have you raised so far? How much of it is for stocks? How much of it is venture debt?
I can't give you exact numbers, but overall TRUKKER has raised just above $200 million in the last 8 years that it has been raising equity and venture debt capital.
Speaking of financing, do you mind sharing with us how much does it cost you, the venture debt?
I can't again give you, unfortunately, disclose exact numbers, but it's more expensive than conventional bank financing. So we're also working on certain options where we get conventional bank financing products which are in single digits. But venture debt and private debt would typically cost double digits. In
your experience, what are the key conditions or requirements for taking venture debt?
I think as a startup or a fast growth technology-based company like us, I think it needs to be a balance about how much do you need to raise capital from non-dilutive in nature. So debt is typically significantly cheaper than equity, but at the same time within debt, your access to conventional debt is a function of your unit economics. So we have always focused on using debt to finance something which can be securitized. Our working capital now, over the last 8 years, we figured out a very strong diversified pool of working capital, and we are able to raise more and more debt on that. However, I think it's a bad idea for startups to use debt or venture debt, which comes at a high cost, for growth-related investments.
So you mentioned unit economics. Is it positive now, your unit economics?
Yes.
Okay. What is your higher cost today?
The highest cost directly is the people cost. We try to hire the best, engineers, product people, sales, operations.
How the recent geopolitical situation, also the tariffs by the US, how is it affecting your business logistics?
The GCC is quite, unique to maximize its, fundamental as a trade hub. So if you look at whether it is, tariffs or cross-border trade, I think GCC is further going to become stronger in terms of, enabling trade. At the same time, there's a lot of localization happening. So again, there we expect a lot of trade within the GCC and surrounding economies, and for supplying to the demand that is in the GCC.
What are the main challenges facing you today?
Challenges-wise, I think access to conventional financial products is a big challenge because the fragmentation of the industry, one, it is a huge opportunity for businesses like ours, but it's also the challenge because conventional banks haven't accessed this industry as much. So if you compare access to working capital finance in Middle East or GCC versus Europe or North America or other comparable, GDP, per capita countries, is very poor here. So I think that's something that needs to improve. And otherwise, I think regulatory-wise, where cross-border trade between the GCC countries, larger MENA region, I think that's becoming more and more digital. So that we are also at one of the fastest transforming regions in the world. Saudi Arabia, UAE, governments have a very strong yesterday kind of a focus where they want to digitize as quickly as possible. So I think that would improve a lot of the operational efficiencies here.
Can you tell us more about your IPO plans?
Of course, I think IPO remains as one of the most probable exit strategies for a business like ours. However, I think the governance perspective of what a company needs to be ready for IPO is in place in TRUKKER for a long time. We've made all the, and based on the institutional investments that we've had, InvestCorp that, led our last round, and before that, institutions like Mubadala, ADQ who invested in us. So governance-wise, we're very strong. I think the focus of the management team is to drive corporate level EBITDA break-even. I think that's expected in the next, 12 months. I think that would then place us, at the right time to understand which market is the most suitable. But I think a regional listing is the most probable, exit strategy for us.
غوراف, Bيسواس, CEO and founder of TRUKKER, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being here.